Chapter 681, Break Through the Ancient Gods Mountain Again. This chapter is updated by novels.pl. Void Sword. How could it be? Zhang Yuochen was quite astonished. He never imagined that the defective holy sword that half-Saint Yuanlong had given to him had such an incredible origin. The name Thousand Bone Empress had been spoken for 100,000 years in Kunlun's field, having left behind countless legends. The saber that she had used was naturally immortalized through the ages. Based on historical records, the Void Sword was a war weapon classified as a supreme holy weapon. Its power was so tremendous that it could cleave rivers and break the primitive world. A common monk only knew that holy weapons were classified into 300 inscription weapon, 1,000 inscription weapon, and 10,000 inscription sacred weapon. Few people knew that above 10,000 inscription sacred weapon was supreme holy weapon. 1,000 inscription weapon would be cherished as a family treasure in a powerful saint family. It would terrify forces in all directions and make others think twice before causing offense. A saintly being of the ninth change in the fish dragon realm with 1,000 inscription weapon in hand would be able to challenge some weaker half-saints. The power of a supreme holy weapon was infinitely greater than that of 1,000 inscription weapon. The entire Kunlun's field probably had only several dozen of them. It was said that the heaven and earth swords, the sect treasure of the yin and yang sect, were merely 10,000 inscription sacred weapons. Only by combining the heaven sword and the earth sword and practicing the yin-yang two-form sword array would they be able to compete with a supreme holy weapon. Even so, the heaven sword and the earth sword were very powerful. They were stained with more than one great saint's blood. The Yin and Yang sect had suffered several great calamities throughout its history. Almost every time they had relied on the strength of the heaven sword and the earth sword to beat strong enemies and safeguard the suzerain so that it could continue on from generation to generation. The void sword was definitely more powerful than the heaven sword and the earth sword, and it was a true supreme holy weapon. If half-Saint Yuanlong found out he had given a supreme holy weapon to Zhang Yuochen, would he be irritated to death? Zhang Yuochen, where is the medieval relic? Driven by excitement, Blackie bared its sharp fangs and bloodshot eyes. Zhang Yuochen said, "The void sword was given to me by half-Saint Yuanlong. If you want to know where the medieval relic is, you'll have to ask him. Even if I ask him, he won't tell me. What's worse, the void sword will be exposed." "Are you trying to fool me?" Blackie said in exasperation. With a calm expression, Zhang Yuochen fixed his eyes on the white holy sword again and said, "This sword is common and rusted. How can it be the legendary void sword? Let me test it." Zhang Yuochen took Blackie and the white holy sword into the scroll world. Next, he took out the ancient abyss sword, ran his strength from head to toe and suddenly chopped at the white holy sword. Glang! The two powerful forces clashed with an ear-splitting sound. The strong impact sent the white holy sword hurtling onto the ground. Zhang Yuochen picked up the sword and found that the rust on the blade had completely fallen off, revealing the bright and snow-white sword body. More incredibly, the white holy sword had remained intact after taking a strike from the ancient abyss sword. At first, Zhang Yuochen still had doubts about whether it was really the void sword, but now he was a bit convinced. Blackie stood nearby and said with a sneer, "Don't waste your time. How could the ancient abyss sword, with its current class, defeat the void sword?" Zhang Yuochen threw a glance at the fat cat and said, "So what? How will a sword exert its power without its sword spirit?" The sword spirit of the void sword just fell into a deep sleep. It did not completely perish. If its sword spirit is awakened, it can once again be a supreme holy weapon and sweep up any holy sword in Kunlun's field. Blackie said, "Do you know how to awaken its sword spirit?" Zhang Yuochen asked. Blackie thought for a second and said, "The void sword's spirit was condensed and shaped by the willpower of Thousand Bone Empress's blood. Hanzhu has the same physical quality as Thousand Bone Empress. Her blood may be able to awaken the sword spirit in it." Zhang Yuochen stopped asking questions and put the void sword away temporarily. He thought they could wait until Hanzhu came back from gaining experience before trying to awaken the sword spirit again. "I have about half a month before the first day of next month. I can improve my cultivation during this period. Ancient Gods Mountain will be open to Saints' disciples once more on the first day of next month." Zhang Yuochen had practiced Sword 1 to the 9th realm by now, so should be able to break through to the third level mountain. If he could successfully ascend the mountain top, he would be able to fetch holy water from the holy spring. With the help of holy water from the third holy spring, Zhang Yuochen was fully confident that he would be able to practice Sword 1 to the 10th realm. The completion. Zhang Yuochen had collected a bottle of Xuanwu sacred blood from the body of Cyan Fire Xuanwu. When he was in the 4th change in the fish dragon realm, Zhang Yuochen had refined 3 drops of Xuanwu sacred blood, raising his cultivation from the initial stage to the peak. If he was to increase his cultivation from the initial stage to the peak in the 5th change in the fish dragon realm, it was imperative to refine more Xuanwu sacred blood. With his current cultivation, he would definitely be able to refine Xuanwu sacred blood faster than ever before. 4 months passed in a flash in the scroll world. Zhang Yuochen refined 4 drops of Xuanwu sacred blood in succession. His cultivation had risen from the initial stage of the 5th change in the fish dragon realm to the mid stage. Let me do the math. Tomorrow should be the 1st day of April. Zhang Yuochen discontinued his practice and left the scroll world. He began adjusting his condition and prepared to face the challenges of the third level mountain. The martial arts contest of Tao of the Sword had been going on for 20 days now. Only the 1st change, 2nd change and 3rd change in the fish dragon realm were still in the final stage. All the other sword contests had already decided on the top 10. Ancient Gods Mountain reopened on April 1st. Compared to the previous month, the number of saints' disciples who came to break through was reduced by more than half. Upon arriving at the foot of the Ancient Gods Mountain, Zhang Yuochen caused a great commotion. Almost all of the saints' disciples of Yin and Yang sect knew him by now. In the past month, Lin Yue hogged the limelight. Not only did he reach the 2nd level mountain of the Ancient Gods Mountain as a newly promoted saint's disciple, but he had also won Shifa's favor. Then, he shone during the sword contest with an undefeated record, winning everyone's affirmation. Elder brother Lin Yue will break through the Ancient Gods Mountain again. Is he aiming for the 3rd level mountain? How would that be possible? In the history of the Yin and Yang sect, few saints' disciples have climbed to the top of the 3rd level mountain while in the fish dragon realm. How is it not possible? Last month, elder brother Lin Yue climbed to the 2nd level mountain. If he isn't confident he could climb the 3rd level mountain, why would he waste precious time making breakthroughs? That's right. Elder brother Lin Yue's talent is unparalleled. It's greater than we can imagine. I think elder brother Lin Yue is certain that he can break through at least the 1st stage of the 3rd level mountain. Under the scrutiny of others, Zhang Yuochen broke through the 1st stage of the 1st level mountain with ease, and then he headed to the mountain top. Before noon, all the saints' disciples at the foot of the mountain spotted Lin Yue at the top of the 2nd level mountain heading straight for the 3rd level mountain. This time, Lin Yue broke through the stage faster. His power has increased a lot, Shifu said. She was standing beside a maple tree at the foot of the mountain, surveying the mountain top with her beautiful eyes. If Lin Yue managed to climb to the top of the 3rd level mountain on his own, she had to use all means to dispose of him lest another Gai Danjiao would emerge from the Yin and Yang sect. She had used concealing means, so all the saints' disciples had not sensed that Shifu was nearby. When he arrived at the foot of the 3rd level mountain, Zhang Yuochen found that someone had already arrived before him. The man was standing straight below the stone wall with his hands behind him, exuding an imposing air. Zhang Yuochen scrutinized the man. He was burly, tall and straight with muscular arms. From about 60 meters away, Zhang Yuochen could sense a flammable and manly strength chi from him. His body was like a huge stove, making people hesitant to approach. Zhang Yuochen clasped his hands together and bowed, saying, "I am Lin Yue from Long Living Yard." "Greetings, predecessor." The burly man just waved his hand with a heroic spirit and said, "Don't call me predecessor. I am not much older than you." Zhang Yuochen stared at the burly man and he, in turn, stared back at Zhang Yuochen. He had a pair of bright and piercing eyes with pupils like huge flaming meteorites denoting incomparable power. A single glance from him could release intense heat, enough to cause spontaneous combustion in monks of the fish dragon realm with lower cultivation. There were many hidden talents in the Yin and Yang sect, and yet another peerless superior had appeared. With fear in his heart, Zhang Yuochen could sense danger from this man. Of course, Zhang Yuochen remained dauntless and calm, saying, "Elder brother, please, after you." "Elder brother?" The burly man curved the corners of his lips, revealed an unusual expression. He shook his head and said, "I have already broken through the first stage of the third-level mountain. Honestly, the reason why I am still here is I was waiting for you." "Waiting for me?" "Yes, waiting for you." "After releasing myself from refining, I kept hearing about a genius of the Tao of the Sword in the suzerain who can practice Sword 1 to the 9th realm. That's why I wanted to see you," said the burly man. It wasn't Zhang Yuochen's first day in the Yin and Yang sect. He already had some knowledge of the top masters among the saints' disciples, but he could not match this man with any of them. If he can break through the first stage of the third-level mountain, he can't be unknown. Zhang Yuochen lowered his head, murmuring. He speculated that the burly man in front must be a talent secretly fostered by the Yin and Yang sect. Without further thought, Zhang Yuochen went straight to the bottom of the 90-meter-high stone wall and began observing the characters on the wall. The words at the foot of the third-level mountain were more complicated and inaccessible, as if each character contained limitless comprehensive state of Tao of the Sword.